Hi, and welcome to the June edition of Rowlett on the Water on the Move. I'm Mayor Todd Gottell.
And I'm Linda Umble, City Manager.
This show is produced entirely by city staff and can be seen on Rowlett's own television network, RTN 16. You can also find us, Linda, 4 times a day on RTN 16 at 12 a.m., 12 p.m., 6 a.m., and 6 p.m. We're also on YouTube now, which is also great. And our channel name is Rowlett Texas Video, or you can go to rowlett.com and visit our streaming video page.
Yes.
And we've got a lot going on again. We have a lot going on every month.
I was going to say, Mayor, I don't know that there's a time we don't have a lot going on.
Well, we've got a great program. We've got some really exciting news about the water restrictions. You can now water a couple times a week now, which is terrific. And we'll talk a little bit about that in just a second. And you're going to present us with your mid-year update. That's
correct. I gave the City Council a full version several weeks ago and wanted to do a condensed version so that our citizens could appreciate a lot of the work that our staff is doing and some of the great things that we've got going on.
Well, and plus then in addition to that, we've also got some ways to beat the summer heat and things to do with the kids this summer. So we've got a good program.
You bet.
And hopefully by the time the show's over, you'll know everything that's going on around that.
So get out your pen and paper.
At least the month of June, that is, right?
That's right. Get out your pen and paper. Take notes.
Well, so how about we start with the news?
Okay.
And that's good. And let's talk about the water restrictions.
All right.
Yeah, we've got some really good news there. And as you're probably aware, as of June 1st, our citizens in our community and the businesses can water their landscaping unscheduled twice a week.
That's right.
Really like that. That's great, because I
bet.
know it was very confusing with a lot of people, but the fact you can do that unscheduled twice a week is really important. You can also, of course, water your foundations. There's new landscaping, new plantings, and shrubs can be watered by hand for up to 2 hours each day by a handheld hose or soaker hose or dedicated zone, and then using a drip irrigation system.
That's correct. The City of Rowlett purchases its water from the North Texas Municipal Water District, and on Thursday, May 24th, their board voted to return to the Stage 2 water restrictions. And, Mayor, we've talked several times about how time passes quickly, and truly, back in Halloween, who would have thought that we'd be this blessed this time of year going into the summer with Lake Lavon at a full condition, because it was pretty scary back in the fall.
Well, I look in retrospect at the photos that we took when we did part of the program down on the lake bed, and I drive by there now and only have an idea. I can't imagine that we were actually standing in that lake bed. So we've been really blessed with the amount of water that we've gotten. We've got a tremendous amount of rain, and hopefully that's going to continue, and that's going to help us.
Yes, and in that spirit, every month we're going to continue to stress to you that we're no longer in a drought condition. However, the North Texas Municipal Water District is still experiencing a water supply issue due to the invasion of zebra mussels in Lake Texoma, and that lake makes up 28% of their water supply. So as a result of that, we're still in Stage 2. We are required to meet a 10% reduction goal, but in normal years, that's what we normally use. So we're pleased that we're now able to ask our citizens to just do what they would normally do twice a week. And if we get a rain shower periodically, you may want to turn your sprinkler off and conserve that water that week, and be able to manage that appropriately. But we'll continue to focus on this as we go through the summer, because we do need to monitor the water supply concerns. We'll be talking to you toward the end of summer. There are going to be some water rate increases as a result of some construction that North Texas Municipal Water District must do in order to compensate for these zebra mussels, and we'll be talking about that in July and August.
Well, it's a big deal. I don't think people realize the impact that the zebra mussels actually have, and that's something that's so important that I think we've got to try to educate everybody.
That's right.
And I think everyone involved is trying to do the best they can to educate the citizens. Drain your boats. Don't bring them back into the lake, because they talked about, it was interesting, I saw the show, and they talked about the actual zebra mussel, I don't want to call them eggs, but like the larva, and he said you can only see them under a microscope. So it's so easy for them to get in, and you transport it from lake to lake. So it is a big issue.
Well, it is, and recently with the coming of summer, you've heard more information on the news about the importance of washing your boat.
That's right.
As you move from lake to lake.
That's
so
right.
That the zebra mussels in Lake Texoma don't get transplanted somewhere else. So to your point, you won't necessarily see them, so it's important that you take extra care.
Absolutely. How do we talk about our Realize Rowlett 2020 Phase 2 program?
This is pretty exciting. It really is.
Well, this has been a journey. I mean, if you really think about where we started from, and the journey that we've taken to get to the point that we're at today. You know, we have a limited amount of land left, and we really need to be good stewards of that land. And we're all asking ourselves, what are the right decisions? What is the best and highest use of each piece of property that's there?
right.
And we really have a very limited amount. You know, when you think about how much we've grown over the years, and I think about the 18 years that I've been here, we started out with probably 18,000 people in the community. We're almost at 60,000 at this point. And the properties have filled up pretty quick. So the fact that we've got the George Bush Turnpike, the fact that DART is here, we really need to do the best we can to, one, update the comprehensive plan and make sure that we've taken into consideration the new things that are in Rowlett, like the Turnpike and like DART.
You know, Mayor, I couldn't agree more, and I want to frame what you've said just a little different to punctuate the magnitude of the process for our citizens. We've waited 50 years for the Turnpike. We've waited 30 years for DART Light Rail, and we've talked about this, you know, for months and months now. But we are 2/3 built out when you really stop and think about it. And so, to your point, we have to get it right. We have to make sure that we are doing the highest and best use of that particular property, because you're out in the community, I'm out in the community, and we hear from our citizens about the need to diversify our tax base. We need to grow our tax base. We need to have commercial here. But the importance of the decisions that we're making are such that there are no do-overs, Mayor. Once we build this and it develops as close to build out as we are, we don't get to try it again.
Well, and the key to that is really the fact that, and this is what I've really had to explain to a lot of folks, is that the property that we currently have there is zoned for something.
That's right.
It has standards in place for something.
That's right.
So something's going to get built there.
That's right.
If you own that property, then it's up to you whether you want to sell it or not. But at some point, someone's going to say, I want to cash out. I want to, you know, it's time for me to sell that piece of property, or they're going to get approached by a developer. And so you get what you ask for. And unfortunately, in some cases, what is currently there in terms of the zoning and the standards is really not what I think the highest and best use is for that particular property.
You know, and that's a very good point, because when this community embraced zoning many years ago, the state of Texas has the law, and communities don't have to have zoning. But when you do, you have to have a comprehensive plan.
That's right.
And the reason that comprehensive plan is so important is it's about the community's vision for itself. And then the zoning is built around that vision. And so last year we started Realize Rowlett Phase 1 to update the vision of our comprehensive plan, acknowledging PGBT is finally here, acknowledging DART is going to be here at the end of the year. And so now that we have these opportunities, what do we need to do to make sure that it implements the vision?
Well, and we also want to acknowledge the citizens. This is really the first time that I can remember that we're saying to folks, tell us what you want. Tell us what you're looking for, what things in the community. So it's not just a consultant coming in and saying, here's what we think you need. It's the people in the community saying, you know, hey, I don't have a place for my son that just graduated from college to live. He wants to live in a hip place, and we don't have that.
That's right.
Or I'm a senior adult or over 55, and I want to have a community that I can move into, or a place that I can retire at some point. And you don't have a lot of that. So it's really looking to identify those key needs, and then at that point then helping to build some of that into the plan to make sure that we get the right type of development.
You know, and you're exactly right. The citizens do matter, and your input is needed. We had a round of meetings back in April, and there were two ways for citizens to engage. One, we call it our clicker technology, when we ask you a series of questions and you vote immediately with this clicker and your input is captured, and then we talk about it. And then there were breakout groups where literally there were maps and people got to point and talk and look and do. Well, we took that information and we've worked with our consultants, and we're beginning to take that and beginning to really put a framework in place. And this conversation really is important, because we want you to engage in the next round of meetings scheduled for June 23rd. We're going to be talking about Woodside Living, that is just north of Liberty Grove between PGBT and Waterview. We're going to be talking about the Signature Gateway, which is just north of the lake as you come from I-30 on the newly constructed PGBT. Used to be referred to as the entertainment district. We're also going to be talking about our healthy living, which is the area just as you come into Rowlett from Rockwall on State Highway 66. And that's really built around Lake Point Medical Center, who we're just truly blessed to have. And it's such an important economic development component for the city of Rowlett. Well, we need you to come out on Saturday, June 23rd to the Rowlett Community Center from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. and let us hear from you yet again. If you've participated in April, please come back out. If you've not participated to this point, it's not too late. To the mayor's point, you're a citizen. We want to hear from you. We want you engaged. We want you to participate.
Well, I recently met with the seniors, and it was really interesting because everyone has a different perspective, and it has to do with how many meetings have you attended, how involved are you, in the process. And there's just a lot of misinformation out there, and I made it very clear that we don't have a hidden agenda. There's not some secret plan that we're trying to get people to buy into. We're trying to put together a plan and do the update.
That's
because
right.
At the end of the day, something is going to get built on that property.
That's right.
And to your point earlier, you said you can't go back.
That's right.
And someone's going to say, how in the world did you get that built? How did you let that get built there? And then it becomes sort of our problem in the sense that, well, we really didn't have the right zoning in place. Well, how did that happen? Well, we're making it happen because we're going to make sure that we do the best we can to get the right type of development in there. And again, we have such a limited amount of property. Now, on June 25th, we're also going to be going to Area E4, which is our old town, and that's known as downtown, and that's going to run from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Rowlett Community Center as well.
That's right.
So it's another opportunity.
You know, Mayor, to your point, and I want to go back and summarize two things. One, to your point, we have to get it right. We don't get the do-overs. And to those folks that say, how did you let that happen? Well, we have, to the extent one can crystal ball something, if you will, look to the future. We've hired real estate economists, and we've talked about the importance of their role on our team here before. But all of the opportunities that we're looking at, all of the things that the community is telling us that they want, we are going out and making sure that the market will support that. So it's not just pretty pictures.
That's right.
It's doable, and it is something that will make a difference to the city of Rowlett financially as we move forward. So it's very important.
And that's the challenge, even from, as I put my council hat back on, when we sit there, this is not a rubber stamped project, and this, we're not going through the process, we check the box. I mean, we're putting a lot of effort into this, and there's a lot of discussion, and we don't have all the right answers. We get approached by a developer, and he says, I want to build this. I want to look at that project. We want to take a look at that because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're making the best decisions for the city. And we don't have right or wrong answers at this point. We're really learning as much as we can, and that real estate economist makes a big difference because she helps bring it back into reality of what is realistic. Because at the end of the day, we can talk about I think we talked about, I apologize, I think we said about the water taxis and other things like that we talked about, and we talked about how tall is the right height for a building. Well, that's all going to come as we go through this process, and we need to make sure that our market is also real, meaning that we can come back at the end of the day and go, I want a 50-story building in Rowlett. It might be 300 years before you ever see something like that. But to that landowner, you've got to be real about, well, what can we see in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and what the right type of development is. So
it won't be a 50-story building, it'll probably be a 15 or 20-story building.
That's exactly right, but it's going to take some time, and that's what I also told the folks too. We don't have a developer waiting in the wings to build all this stuff. We just want to make sure that when we get the developers in, that we have an opportunity to give them a real plan, something that they can act upon pretty quickly.
Yes, and so to that point, once we complete Realize Rowlett 2020 Phase 2, we are currently beginning to put together a structure for the implementation phase. We're going to convert what is a land use plan into an economic development strategy. And Jim Grabenhorst, our new Director of Economic Development, is going to then begin to make sure that when we meet with the developers that we believe can implement our vision, that we've done our homework, we've provided them with the appropriate information so that they see us as a community that, wow, did it right, really worked hard, and bring forward a vision, a regulatory plan, and a community that's willing to support that. So it's really exciting.
And we're also opening this up to other types of housing as well.
Yes.
It's no longer, I want the half-acre lot, the acre lot. We're saying you can build 0 lot line houses.
Yep.
Well, you just got to follow this plan in order to do that. But now we have options available to these developers, because for years we're always hearing about density. If I could put X amount of homes in there, I can get a bigger return on my investment. That's what the developers say to us, or the home builders. Well, we're giving them an opportunity to do that, but we're just saying, listen, we got to keep the standards high, because you're not going to squash them in there. We want something that 15 or 20 years from now is going to be something that's still saleable in this community.
You bet. So for more information, go to www.realizeRowlett2020.com for all of the details.
Terrific. Well, let's talk about what to do with the summer. The kids are often not too much longer here. School's just about out, and then it will definitely be out sometime in June, depending on your school.
Yep.
But I have to tell you, I think about, what am I going to do with the kids?
And it's going to get hot.
There's only so many games, and so when I think about that, I'm like, okay, at the end of the day, what do we do? Well, first and foremost, we've got a lot to do in Rowlett, and we have Wet Zone Water Park, which I think is a real jewel. It's a wonderful community water park. It's a great opportunity to fit that age demographic of those younger kids that want to come out and have a good time. It's very affordable. We've made improvements all over the park.
You bet we have.
And we even have swimming lessons. That's a great opportunity. Summer's now the time to get the kids out of the house and have them do something. Well, swimming lessons are a great way to do that. And we have fun programs all summer long at the water park. We also have season passes are now available. And there's I think there's 3 different levels that you can buy in at, but very, very affordable. And that way, if you want to drop the kids off and go there and do some shopping for the day, I think there's an age limit on that, but you can certainly go and do that, and it's a great opportunity where it's supervised and they have a great time. And it's open daily, but it's closed on Tuesdays, so our water park is open daily. And for more information, you can go to wetzonewaterpark.com for all the details and hours.
You
so
bet.
That's one thing we can do. So what else can you do?
Well, another way to beat the heat is
we're going to keep going back and forth until you run out.
Absolutely. Another way to beat the heat is to head to the Rowlett Community Center. We're very proud of our state-of-the-art facility that offers a wide variety of services for everyone, from preschoolers to senior citizens.
All right, now can I stop you there, because there are so many
bet.
people in this community that have not been to the community center.
They're
and I'm
missing out.
amazed when they come back and they say, this is the first time I've been here. And I'm like, really? And they go, this is really nice. And I said, yeah, it's a great facility. There's a lot to do there.
It is.
So, and I know that we have new hours and we have special rates. For basically $10 a month, you can get an individual membership.
Well, our team strives to provide services that the community wants, with amenities that include a fitness room. For those of us that like to walk, it's getting to a point. It's getting to a point it may be a little warm.
By the way, just in case you're wondering.
There you go. There's a fitness room. There's an indoor walking track that has air conditioning. So on those triple-digit heat days, don't let that stand in your way of getting your exercise. We have gyms. We have racquetball courts. We have game rooms and classrooms. Check out our summer lakeside leisure and try out a summer-long program or class.
And I want to point out one thing. Preschoolers to seniors. So we have programs that range from every age group that's there. So you don't have to say, well, that's not for me. There's definitely something to do. That's about the Summer Lakeside. We have the magazine that comes out, the Lakeside Leisure Magazine.
Yep.
And it has a listing of all the different programs. I don't know if you spend time yourself, but I'm amazed at all the stuff you've gone on, because I go down there and I play racquetball or I go walk, but I'm flipping through that catalog and I'm like, wow, I didn't know we had this. Oh, I didn't know we had this. There's just a lot of stuff to do.
That's right. So, as the mayor said, check out our summer lakeside leisure. You just might be surprised what we have to offer. Our hours are Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., and on Sunday, 12 to 6 p.m.
And I'm excited about the extended hours.
Yes, I will tell you that we are doing kind of a pilot program this summer with our extended hours. What you may find is that we'll have winter hours and summer hours, because in the summertime we are such an outdoor community with the lake that we're going to monitor our attendance, and it's possible that we won't offer the extended hours in the summertime because the population is doing other things. But we do know for a fact that in the fall and the winter you want the extended hours. You have certainly proven that with your attendance, so we'll keep that. We're doing these extended hours through the summertime as kind of a test, and depending on our attendance, we may end up having a summer schedule and a winter schedule.
That's great. Well, I guess it's my turn now, huh?
Yes.
Well, how about the public library? Let's talk about that.
Well,
There's
that's my
always
fun
something
thing.
going on. I know, and I'll let you talk about
I
that
was
because
gonna say,
you're an
you may-
avid reader. But let's talk about the summer reading program.
Okay. You know, one of the best ways to beat the heat with the kids is our Rowlett Public Library Summer Reading Club. And, you know, you've heard me say how passionate I am about the library. And my earliest, fondest memories of the library actually were the summer reading program in Louisiana where I grew up. And I remember my sister and my mother taking me to the library when I was just a small child, and all of the fun things that happened as a part of the reading club that just made the library an exciting place to go. And I really attribute that to my love of reading to this day. And so children of all ages are invited to join the Summer Reading Club at the Rowlett Public Library for summer reading pleasure, entertainment from professional performers, free movies on a big screen, and the chance to earn prizes. And the great thing about this is the program is offered at no charge to participants thanks to the wonderful sponsorship of the Friends of the Library, the City of Rowlett, our local merchants, and the Texas State Library. We couldn't do it without these folks, and every year everybody steps up to the plate and does. And every year we have a tremendous number of kids that read, and it makes it fun, and it's just a wonderful program.
Now, how do I register? So if I want to get involved, I'm watching the show and I think, well, you know, I want to get my kids signed up. Is there a sign-up process?
You bet there is. Registration begins on Monday, June 4th. Programs run through Saturday, July 28th. Children can win great prizes and coupons for each of the 5 hours that they read, up to 30 hours. And I believe you can go to the library and sign up and do that in person. If you'll just go to the circulation desk, they'll be happy to help you sign up. And to give you reasons to go and sign up, on every Tuesday, special performers for school-aged children will be offered at the Community Center on Tuesdays at 2 o'clock. The admission's free. And let's give you a sneak preview of what's going to be debuting in June.
Well, we got Tuesday, June 5th, Science of Spin. Be amazed at the performance of Valerie Oliver. She's the winner of the World Award for Yo-Yo Excellence.
That's tough.
Have you ever done yo-yo?
I haven't. I'm not good at it at all.
Let me tell you, I'm amazed because every year they have a school program over at GISD, and my son comes home and he goes, "Dad, I need a yo-yo. I need $20 or whatever it's for yo-yo." And I'm amazed at what they teach him. I'm like, wow, this is pretty good. He's actually teaching me how to do some of that, so
All right.
that's pretty exciting.
Well, maybe you need to go to the class.
Yeah, I'm the before picture. So.
And on June 12th, Brett Roberts' Magic School Action. There will be magic and laughter featured as a part of this interactive show.
They're going to make me disappear.
Ooh,
No,
that would be reason to show up.
Some people might want that. You never know. Okay, you don't have to bring them back. It's all right. Don't worry about it. And then on June 19th, which is my brother's birthday, we have Bongo Rod Butler, also known as Bongo Rod, hosts the Coconut Radio Show. Join us for a puppet show with Bongo Rod and his coconutty friends.
Now that sounds like a fun time.
Yeah, I've actually never heard him before, but I bet that's pretty cool,
You
especially
know,
on the radio
Bongo
show.
Rod, I'd be willing to bet that there's some noise involved in that,
I think
Mayor.
so as well.
On June 26th, Mickey the Monkey will be there, and you'll have an opportunity to enjoy the antics of Mickey the Trick Monkey. Bring your camera. I'm feeling a scrapbooking moment coming on with that one.
It's got to be worth a photo op at least.
You bet. You
You and
bet.
Mickey the Monkey.
Absolutely. Something to put on Facebook and share with your family and friends of the great time that your children are having. So be sure and stop by the library and sign up today.
All right, now let me talk about my favorite.
Yes, sir.
This is the highlight of my whole year.
Yes, it is. You do.
And of our Main Street events.
Yep.
It is very, very well attended.
Yes.
And we have fireworks on Main coming back. It's
Yep.
going to be on July 4th this year.
That's true.
And interesting because this year the 4th falls on a Wednesday.
Yep.
I don't know how that works. You know, when you think about a holiday, because people always gravitate, if it's that like Monday or Tuesday, they take a long weekend. So I don't know if you just take the whole week off or what you do, but this is going to be on July 4th this week. It runs from 4 to 10.
Yes.
So fireworks on Main, Wednesday, July 4th from 4 to 10. You can join your friends and neighbors on Main Street. I love this. We shut down Main Street. We bring in some entertainment. We celebrate freedom. It's Rowlett's 60th birthday and the grand opening of PGBT with friends and family. And it is a wonderful, wonderful evening. And then to top the evening off, of course, we have fireworks.
Yep.
Last year we had over 10,000 people show up.
You bet.
It amazes me when we look at how we all work together as a team between the Chamber of Commerce, the different organizations, the CERT groups. Everybody pitches in, and it creates a really family-friendly event. And of course, my motto is bring your family, not your checkbook. So it's really important that everyone in the city can afford to go, which means you just go and have a great time. It's wonderful when I see people putting their blankets out and they play cards, they bring some snacks with them. There's also food that's going to be served there as well. It's just a really nice evening.
So mark your calendars. Wednesday, July 4th, 4 to 10,
I'm
Main
looking forward
Street.
to it. And of
See
course,
you
we
there.
also have live entertainment. I don't
You
know if I
bet.
mentioned that. So,
Always.
well, I think I'm out of stuff to do right now. I'm trying to, how about you?
We're busy.
Why don't we take a commercial break?
Okay.
And when we get back, we'll have some additional updates.
All right, thanks.
Not again. Here at the Rowlett Public Library, we have something for everyone, including graphic novels, books, music, movies, audiobooks, and magazines. To encourage reading over the summer, teens will be rewarded for participating in the summer reading program. There are prizes and coupons available for every 5 hours of reading for up to 30 hours. We're also going to have a variety of programs this summer for teens aged 12 to 18. That's right, this summer on Wednesday. Come to the Rowlett Public Library meeting room every Wednesday in June and July at 2 in the afternoon for summer reading programs for teens, geared for teens ages 12 to 18. Wednesday, June 6th, Teen Scene Investigations with real Rowlett police officers showing us CSI. Wednesday, June 13th, Realm of the Unknown with UTD Forensics. Wednesday, June 20th, Video Game Careers with Real Geeks. Wednesday, June 27th, Mystery Scavenger Hunt. Wednesday, July 11th, Zombie Spa Day. And on Wednesday, July 18th, End of Summer Music Concert. For more information, contact the library. See you this summer at the Rowlett Public Library.
Oh, my back!
Ready for summer? We are. Dive into the Wet Zone, Rowlett's family water park. Go to wetzonewaterpark.com for details.
Have a good day at school.
Ready for summer? We are. Dive into the Wet Zone, Rowlett's family water park. Go to wetzonewaterpark.com for details.
And we are back.
Yes,
We're
we
back
are.
with the construction corner, but this is a relatively short construction corner, which I'm very happy to talk about.
Yes.
We've got some good projects going on, but one of the things we always had in Rowlett is always construction, but we really have some good news and we've made some significant progress. Let's talk about Rowlett Road.
Well, let's talk about Rowlett Road and talk about how much of a non-event Rowlett Road construction really was, and that is a tremendous success.
I've been on council since 2007, and Rowlett Road has been a topic of discussion literally the entire time. And to be able to drive down that road and have it open early and have it just works. It's clean, it flows, it does what it's supposed to do, and I've gotten more compliments from people saying this was so great. And Tricon, hats off to those folks. They did an outstanding job. They were the contractor that we hired for that. It's a Rowlett company. We are very, very, very pleased.
Yes, and that is true. It was a combination of Tricon Construction and the Rowlett Public Works team working together. Our consultants, they did an outstanding job on this project. It opened months ahead of schedule, and really it is a great project, and we're very appreciative of that. Tricon Construction and our construction team are also working on Merritt Road. Tricon Construction was the low bid for Miller Road. And so we're in the process right now of moving utilities on Merritt Road. Merritt Road, if you'll remember, is connected to BGBT at both corners. It's the Merritt Road exit in Saxe, and Merritt Road will connect then to the Merritt Road Liberty Grove interconnector in Rowlett. It's going to be a 4-lane divided roadway, and the first thing to constructing any roadway is moving the utilities out of the way. So
And I
that's
was
where we
shocked.
are.
You know, it's one thing to see on the map because we've talked about this for a while, and we looked at the maps and you say this is X number of feet wide, but when you see them moving the utility poles and you go, wow, this is going to be nice. This
Yep.
is really going to
It
be
is.
wide. Plus, we're going to have some hike and bike trails along there as well, which is really a first in Rowlett to be able to have the bike trails put in there. So
bet.
I'm really looking forward to that as well.
Yes, and that's planned to be an 18-month construction project, so we'll be talking about that for the months to come. Also, we want to give you an update on the Martin Drive project that's located near the future downtown Rowlett Dart Light Rail Station. It runs from the industrial. Well, actually, Martin Drive runs from what will be Coyle Street when it opens all the way to State Highway 66, and this project is well underway. Weather permitted, contractors expect to finish this project in September, well advance of the Dart Light Rail opening on December 3rd.
I cannot wait.
I know.
We've waited such a long time. I
I
know we had the
know.
inaugural voyage on that and it was fun, but it's, you know, it cannot come soon enough. I've heard a lot of wonderful things. So speaking of Dart Light Rail, let's talk about that for a minute because we had
Okay.
the construction and the testing on
Yep.
the tracks will continue until service begins. We had a wonderful inaugural voyage.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great ride, and you saw that of course on last month's program that we had.
Yeah, it was great.
And it went fast. You know, they did such a great job with the construction. They told us, I think they originally told us it was going to be
2 or 3 hours.
2 or 3 hours. Well, I think we're done in what, an hour?
Yes,
I mean, I was disappointed because I was glad we had to tape our show, but I thought, oh, I want to enjoy this ride. And I really didn't see a whole lot. I saw the cameras were doing the show and we kept moving like this back and forth. But it was terrific.
It was funny because we had planned to tape the television show because it was going to take 3 hours, and we thought, well, we've got to do something to pass the time, and the train rolls into the station and we're not done with the show, so it moved very quickly.
Well, if you want to see the show, if you haven't seen it already, you can view the inaugural voyage on last month's program on our YouTube channel or streaming video if you go to rowlett.com. So,
You bet.
Really cool stuff. Let's take another commercial break, and when we get back, you're going to talk about your update.
Yes, the mid-year work plan update. And welcome back. At this point in time, I want to spend the next few minutes providing an update on this year's operational work plan. As you've heard me talk many times before, every year as a part of our budget process, the organization puts together a work plan. It's based on 7 goals that we collectively establish some objectives organizationally as well as departmentally that we work toward every year. It's adopted as a part of the budget process by council, and it is a mechanism that the council uses to review me as your city manager, as well as the performance of the organization as a whole. So twice a year, we give an update. We do a mid-year update halfway through the year, and then at the end of the year, we do a year-end review. Well, in May, I provided a mid-year update for council on the fiscal year 2012 work plan. And our fiscal year, just to remind you, runs October 1st through September 30th. So this is halfway through the year. Unfortunately, there's not a finite stopping point. So while it's conceived to be an update from October through the end of March. Inevitably, we kind of bleed those lines a little, and we end up talking about some things that are current. So it's not finite the first 6 months, but the majority of it represents the things that we've done the first 6 months. So let's get started. Goal number 1 is to improve relations with citizens to establish community goodwill and trust. And we certainly spend an awful lot of time working hard to do that. We recognize that public service is what we are, and you are who we serve. And it's very important that we establish a great relationship with you, and we work very hard to do that. Interestingly enough, I want to draw your attention to the screen, because one of the things that I did is I highlighted throughout the work plan is pictures of things that have happened the first 6 months. And this is a picture of the first Rowlett rail car of our inaugural ride when we did our training exercise with DART in April, in preparation for the December 3rd start date of DART. So I'll draw your attention to those pictures as we go through. But let's talk about what we've done to meet our objective, goal number 1, of improve relations with our citizens. Well, you know me, if I have an opportunity to brag about our volunteers, I'm certainly going to stop and do that. And our mid-year update was certainly no difference. Our volunteers absolutely make a difference. We couldn't do it without you. What is amazing is the amount of volunteer hours that we saw the first 6 months of the year. More than 13,000 hours, the equivalent of 12 and a half plus people. Already saving you, our taxpayers, more than $268,000. And I say this time and time again, there are several departments, whether it's our animal control or our park maintenance or our library, that truly couldn't offer the level of service that we provide to you today without our volunteers. So if you're volunteering, we cannot say thank you enough. If you're not and you want to, we'd love to hear from you. I do want to draw your attention to the pictures. Mayor Todd Gottel is standing with Larry and Galen Beckham, who were our Richard Huff Excellent in Community Service Achievement Award winners. They were recognized back at our banquet in December. And I'm standing with Jennifer Carnell, who was our Volunteer of the Year. She does a tremendous job volunteering in our records department, our police department. 2 great examples of individuals and couples in our community giving back, making a difference every day. We cannot say thank you enough. Another way that we build goodwill with our community is by engaging you, our citizens, our stakeholders. And we work very hard throughout the year to ensure that our processes provide opportunities for you, the community, to engage. Some examples, the first 6 months was National Night Out. We love getting out and visiting with our community. We made a number of our annual HOA meetings, whether it was with Waterview or Mariners Cove. There were opportunities to seek your input on things that will affect you, whether it was the Realize Rowlett 2020 or the Scenic Point Park public input. All of those are so very, very important. We also met with Castle Hill HOA. If you'll remember, back in January, we had some stray bullets from the Garland gun range hit some homes in that subdivision, and so there was certainly a high level of concern, and we met with them to hopefully work with them to alleviate their concerns. So as you can see, there are just a number of examples where we work very hard throughout the year to hear from you and engage you to make sure that you have an active role in your community. Goal number 2 is to create an organization that embraces innovation and creates opportunities to improve efficiencies and effectiveness. And we certainly had several great examples of that. This particular picture is of Vernon and Lorraine Schrady. They had donated $150,000 to restore the Coil House, and you see that restoration in the picture. And this is back in November, where we actually had a plaque dedication thanking them for their contributions and for restoring that to a working order and something that is a real asset to us as an entrance to the community center. A great example of how we're improving our efficiency and effectiveness is 3 of our departments have started the accreditation process. Parks and Recreation, our fire department, and our police department. And essentially, this is so very important, not necessarily from the distinction of being accredited, but from the journey, if you will, of what we learn about ourselves. We question, what should we be doing? How should we be doing it? And we benchmark our policies and our processes against those that are doing it very well, so that we can ensure that we can continue to provide you a high level of excellence in all of the programming and services that we offer. And so over the next 12 to 18 months, these three departments will be going through a very difficult, very detailed process to ensure that we are providing a very high level of service and doing it the best way possible. One of the things that we pledged to do as a part of our budget process last year was contract our building inspection department. If you will recall, as a part of the fiscal year 2012 budget that we're in, that we built last year, we had a reduction in force. We identified 4.5 positions that would be eliminated this year, and we notified those individuals 6+ months in advance. And one of the positions eliminated was a building inspector. So what we have now is a building official that does the specific inspections that are service-oriented, the water heater inspections, the fence inspections, and serves then as a contract administrator for those big projects such as a housing subdivision that requires inspections. Essentially, the user of those inspections pay for those inspections, and the overhead is carried by the contractor, in this case Bureau Veritas. To this point, we've spent a little over $19,000 on third-party services paid for by the end user, and at the end of the day, you, the taxpayer, are not paying for that overhead until it's needed, and it's paid for by the person or the entity that is benefiting from it. So we are delighted to provide to you an update that says that program is working very well. Goal number 3 is to ensure our citizens receive the value of their investment, i.e. your tax dollars. And we had some great examples of that. I want to draw your attention to the picture. This is PGBT. It opened December 20th. This is a picture of the Main Street interchange, and what an amazing difference that roadway has made. I experienced that myself when I exit the community. It cuts between 5 and 15 minutes off the trip depending on where I'm going. We've already done some traffic counts, and it's amazing some of the traffic patterns that have shifted. We've seen as much as 17,000 cars a day difference in parts of Rowlett Road. So PGBT has truly made a difference in the impact of the traffic. So let's talk about some of the ways we're ensuring that you have a good value for your tax dollars. And one of the best ways this first 6 months is our solid waste collection process. Our current solid waste or garbage collection contract expires September 30th of this year. Our current contractor is IESI. And we went to council back in the fall and suggested that it was time to go back out in the market. Things had changed, and we wanted to make sure that we were providing you not only the right services, but at the best price. So back in the fall, we conducted a citizen survey. Actually, it was a telephone survey, and engaged 400 of you, asking you what you thought. And it has a statistical validity of plus or minus 5%. What we heard from you is that you were very pleased with the quality of life here in Rowlett. You were very pleased with the garbage service. You wanted to continue to have that service, but you wanted to pay the best price possible. And you weren't really interested in your price going up if you had to pay more to get the same service. So we took that to heart. We developed a request for proposal process and went out in the market. We had 4 vendors submit a proposal. 3 of them were deemed responsive, and so we spent a lot of time interviewing the 3 applicants, and we had a very detailed process. It was a 3-part process. We evaluated each of the 3 vendors based on their response in writing to our request for request for proposals. And there was a point value added to that. And then we interviewed each of the 3 companies We spent about an hour and a half with each company, making sure that at the end of the day, they would deliver you, our citizens, the very best in the way of customer service. And then each of the companies was evaluated on the basis of price. And at the end of the day, the best value from a point system was Waste Management. And on May 15th, our City Council awarded the contract for solid waste service to be with Waste Management effective October 1st. And essentially what you're going to be able to do is this. You'll keep once a week garbage collection in your 96-gallon container. You will get once a week recycling, except your container will increase in size. It will go from its 65-gallon container to a 96-gallon container. So you'll have a recycling container and a garbage container the same size. Also, what you're going to get is curbside brush collection once a week. Unlimited brush, won't need to be bundled, won't need to be cut. Just literally drag it to the collection point, and we'll do a better job of communicating that between now and October. You get it to the curb and it will be gone by the end of the week. Same thing with bulky items, and you won't have to call in to get that service. So we're absolutely delighted that your rates will not change if you're a residential customer, but your service will actually improve. So we are very, very pleased to be able to provide you a higher level of service for the same price, to ensure that you continue to get good value for your tax dollars. The next thing I want to talk to you about is our excellent financial stewardship. This is something that I'm very, very proud of. This year, we got an unqualified opinion with no findings. That's the best you can get. This makes our third year that we've gotten an unqualified opinion with no findings. So you could be assured that we are doing a very good job of being fiscally responsible with your money. In addition, we've had a bond refunding, and essentially we've refunded a little more than $19 million in bond financing with the present value of about 8.25%. And essentially it's going to save you, the taxpayer, about $1.9 million over the remaining life of those bonds, or about $113,000 a year. Two very good examples of how we're making sure that we manage your money well and ensure that you're getting good value for your tax dollars. There's also been some economic development growth thanks to the opening of PGBT and the coming of DART, if you will. If you've ridden along State Highway 66, you're seeing the construction of two new CVS pharmacies. One's located at the corner of Dow Rock and State Highway 66, and the other is going to be constructed at Rowlett Road in State Highway 66. Currently under construction is a new Applebee's restaurant. It's going to be on the south side of State Highway 66, just across the street from Target. And Cane's, or Raising Cane's, which is a chicken strip based or themed restaurant, and it's going to be built behind Target where the old Mandarin Chinese restaurant used to be. We have several projects that are pending final approval, and that's Discount Tire. We have a new Stonebridge veterinarian clinic that's going in, and then Precision Coatings was recently approved for about a 30,000 square foot expansion, and we're delighted that one of our local businesses is expanding and adding jobs. And you can see from the chart that it's increasing new jobs, as well as increasing the value of our commercial construction. So even in these challenging economic times, we're delighted that we're beginning to see some economic growth here in the city of Rowlett. Goal number 4 is to establish a customer-centered organization by serving our internal and external customers. And we certainly work very hard on a daily basis to make sure that we stay customer-centered. We are a public service organization, and that's what we have to provide is good service. And so it starts with PGBT opened on December 20th, and we spent an awful lot of time the last 3 years advocating for you, our citizen, as a customer. And we had a lot of staff, and you've heard me talk about that on this very television program, the amount of time and efforts that our staff put in going to meetings to make sure that you were taken care of as a motoring public during construction, and that you were factored in the long-term product as we move forward. So we're very excited that PGBT is finally open after waiting so many years for it to happen. Again, DART service will begin on December 3rd, 2012, and we're sure excited about that. One of the things that we were delighted to be invited to participate in back in December was a safety awards program that DART hosted, and recognized the fine work of the DART staff as well as their contractor, Austin Bridge and Road, and their subs. They actually have worked 1 million hours over the course of this 2-year project without any lost time due to injury. And that is a tremendous accomplishment. And we were so proud to be invited and to be able to celebrate and recognize that important milestone with those that have been involved. And it's a real testament to the quality of work that DART does and the commitment that they have to their staff and the communities that they serve. Our police department worked to ensure that we have appropriate ordinances in place as DART Light Rail comes to Rowlett. So we surveyed other cities that are served by DART and determined what ordinances that they have in place. And we had to tweak some of ours, so we made some changes to our loitering ordinance, our alcohol in public, or consumption of alcohol in public, if you will, and sleeping in public, so that we are in a position to be able to address some of the opportunities, if you will, that come with DART. We are also, as we've said, had the inaugural train ride on April 25th. We've talked about on this program as a part of the construction update, the Martin Drive construction process. There will be a couple of lane closures throughout the summer as DART makes some final adjustments and some final repairs. And so we'll continue to communicate with you on those rolling lane closures on Rowlett Road and Dexham throughout the summer as it's appropriate. But we're very excited that the end is near on the construction, and service will finally begin for DART on December 3rd. We spent some time last month talking to you about our While You Wait After School program. This was a program that essentially we created to help all of our stakeholders in downtown. Stakeholders include the children that attend Coyle Middle School, Rowlett High School, and Rowlett Elementary. It includes our patrons that visit the library, as well as our business community here in downtown. And we had created some after-school programs involving the library and the park staff. And we were very pleased that we had about 40 children that participated. Unfortunately, we had about 60 kids that didn't participate and didn't want to participate. It was creating some challenges for us, and it was impacting our ability to service our customers, primarily our library patrons. And so we met with the Garland Independent School District. We met with our superintendent and several of our assistant superintendents and the principal with Coyle Middle School, and we're absolutely delighted and appreciative of the partnership that came from that. So as a result, we've moved the after-school program to Coyle Middle School. We still have those same 40 children participating, and they're having a great time. We sent out a lot of information to the parents and communicated that the 60 children that weren't participating really had two choices. They needed to go home, or they needed to participate in the after-school program. And within about a week and a half, we saw an amazing turnaround, and we've gotten some very favorable comments from our library patrons on how nice it is to come to the library. So if that was keeping you away in the afternoons between 3 and 6 on weekdays, we'd certainly invite you back. I believe that we'll have this problem resolved this year, and we'll continue this type of format next year as we move forward. So that's an update on our While You Wait After School program. Goal number 5 is to enhance our employee culture and morale, to create an environment where our employees feel valued and have a sense of pride. And this picture I'm so proud of. Our city council did a cookout back in November and invited all of the employees as a way to say thank you, and we appreciate what you do. And we are so appreciative as a staff to have a council that supports the employees and supports what we do. It's a real partnership, and as a result of that, I believe you, the citizen, have a great sense of community and get great programming and great services, because the City Council and staff are certainly working in step. I want to say congratulations to Stacey Chadwick. She is our Deputy City Secretary, currently serving in the capacity of Interim Secretary. Stacey received her Texas Registered Municipal Clerk certification in January of 2012, and that is certainly an achievement. That certificate is not easy to achieve. It takes time, a lot of extra effort, a lot of studying, and so that's a real accomplishment for Stacey, and we wanted to take a time to celebrate that success for her. She is a very quiet doer in our organization. If you've ever engaged Stacey, I know that you were delighted to meet her and received exceptionally good customer service, and she's a tremendous asset to this organization, and again, we're real proud of her achievement. I also want to say that we have new battalion chiefs. One of the things that we did a mid-year budget adjustment was we added 2 positions. We didn't actually add them. What we did was we took 2 positions and reclassified them so that we could add 2 battalion chiefs. We had a deputy chief that it was a lateral move. And so now what we have is 24-hour-a-day supervision of our shifts, so that every day, 24 hours a day, there is a chief on duty to help with whatever situation arises. And it also helps us instill the culture in the fire department. This is really an important addition to the fire department. We were the only city of any size in the Metroplex that didn't have battalion chiefs. And this is a real improvement to the quality of service and our ability to train and do incident command in a real-time basis. So very important addition, and we're really pleased that these 3 individuals were promoted, and I can assure you that the fire department is certainly in good hands. Goal number 6 is to create a sustainable organization, ensuring the right resources to the right place at the right time. This picture is Rowlett Road, road construction, phase 2 between Miller Road and Century Drive. The project was just managed beautifully. It was a non-event and finished well before the deadline. It was constructed by a Rowlett company, Tricon Construction, and my hat's off to Tricon as well as our Rowlett Public Works team. They took this very seriously. They managed this project beautifully. It was predominantly funded through federal funds. A little over $4 million of federal funds built this road. So we're very excited that it has already opened, and we're moving on to other opportunities. Another opportunity for us to ensure in the future resources at the right place at the right time is Realize Rowlett 2020. We talked about earlier in this program about the importance of the vision that has come from Realize Rowlett 2020 in the form of our comp plan. And that phase 2 focuses on 3 areas: healthy living, which is the entrance into Rowlett from Rockwall on 66 and encompasses the hospital. Woodside Living, which is north of Liberty Grove between PGBT and Waterview, that's going to provide us a diversification of housing that we're hearing from all of you that you have an interest in. It also is focusing on the Signature Gateway, which is the former entertainment district. That is, if you're going north on PGBT from I-30, will be on the east side of the highway. Also, together but yet separate is the downtown area. And we are really focusing on that so we can have a regulatory plan, a zoning in place, so that when DART opens in December, we'll be ready for business. Well, we spend a lot of time out in the community, as we've said, engaging property owners, engaging citizenry. And we were delighted back in April that we had more than 100 people involved in the process. There were many opportunities for engagement, whether it was using the clicker technology, as we call it, to be able to vote and see the instant results, or sitting around a table and collaborating with your neighbor. We spent quite a bit of time creating video clips so that everybody that participated got the same information, and it was educational and reminded us of what we were doing and why it was so important. So this is just an opportunity yet again for me to say, if you're participating, we appreciate it. Please keep it up. If you're not, it's not too late. Please come to the meetings in June that we talked about earlier in this program. Another opportunity for us to ensure sustainable development, the right place at the right time going forward, is to make some improvements to our development code. And essentially we did that in two areas. One is in the industrial district, and the second was with the sign ordinance. Earlier in the year, we worked with property owners in our industrial district, Gordon Smith. That area that is, I guess you would say, south of 66, just across the street from the Home Depot. Making sure that that particular area could develop and be what it is. And we are certainly proud to have the businesses in that community that provide that commercial base to us. And so we've evaluated our standards and allowed businesses to expand and made sure that the standards weren't too onerous, but yet ensured a quality development that we could all be proud of. And those changes have been adopted and instituted by council. The sign ordinance is another example of where there was some conflict, depending on which part of the code you read, depending on what it said. And there was a lot of confusion in the community, and particularly when code enforcement would come out to enforce our codes. So we worked with the business community and alleviated the inconsistencies and created standards for the new technology that existed and was currently not under our code. And those sign revisions have also been approved and were approved as a part of the May 15th agenda. So those are two examples of how we continually tweak our policies and procedures to make sure that they're not stale, they're not overbearing, but meet the objectives and the community standards that are important to us. Lots of opportunities in the way of capital improvement projects to ensure that we leave our future better than we found it. We have a $4 million cash CIP, and every year we do concrete streets repair and rehab. We do alley panel replacements as a part of that. We go out and do crack sealing in our sidewalk repair program. All come out of the cash CIP, and you can drive this community over the last several years and see the improvements that have been made in that regard. We've talked about Rowlett Road Phase 2 and our construction update. We talked about Merritt Road, and we've talked about DART and PGBT. We did do a couple of drainage projects, Century Drive drainage. And Century Drive is behind the police department, and that's a part of the Long Branch drainage channel that runs through downtown under the old DG&O bridge. And if you've ever driven through there after a rainstorm, typically Main Street is flooded and we have to close the gates. So we're making improvements along that channel in order to ease the drainage opportunities, and that's a great example of that. And then the upper pressure plane. Many of you have suffered for years with poor water pressure, and we were able to do an interim fix that has increased the pounds per square inch of pressure in certain neighborhoods by 10 to 15 pounds, and that's pretty significant. And we appreciate your patience and are glad that project has worked out well. Parks and Recreation also have had a number of capital projects, and we mentioned the Coyle House earlier and Scenic Point Park and all of the wonderful input that we've gotten from that. We'll be talking more about this park in June as we have met with the consultants now and framed your input and put together, I think, an exciting park. I'm going to be really, really excited to be able to get out and talk more about that as we move forward. Our Katy Park. We have some neighbors that didn't believe that park was going to happen. Been waiting 25 years. Well, that park is going to happen. It's been designed, the bid's been awarded, and construction is now taking place, and we're so excited about that. And then Paddle Point Park, that's as a part of our Lakeside Park, and was deemed one of the 30 paddle park trails in the state of Texas. Well, we've added a vendor out there that does kayaking, and so if you go by on the weekends and you see all this activity and wonder what it is, you can rent kayaks and actually get out and experience the lake. And it's another opportunity for us to enhance the recreational programming that we have by embracing the lake that is one of the wonderful things about the city of Rowlett. And then aren't we delighted that we don't have to talk about we might be going to stage 4 watering anymore. I think these pictures are an impressive dichotomy of what Mother Nature in a little time will do. You can see the picture of Lake Lavon in September of 2011 as we were moving into the Halloween time period. We really thought that if things didn't change, we'd be moving to stage 4, and it would have been a really catastrophic event for us, not only from having to manage the process and the water restrictions, but from the financial implications to that as well. But never fail, Mother Nature will surprise you, and the picture of Miller Road is in February when it rained 6+ inches and we had to close the road. So as a result of that, the lakes are now back to being full. Lake Lavon is full, and we're at water restriction stage 2. And you can go back to watering twice a week. But it was important for us to note that an awful lot of work and preparation went into planning for and being prepared for stage 4 should it have happened. And I certainly don't mind spending time on work like that when it doesn't happen, because that was a good thing. That's a good thing. And then our final goal is goal 7. And that's instilling a sense of pride and ownership in the community. And I just love this picture. I love when we start instilling volunteerism in those of us that are at a very young age. That's a great value to have. And this is an example of a Cub Scout troop that was picking up trash in March. And we are so appreciative of the commitment that the Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts have relative to volunteerism, and they're always looking for opportunities to give back, and we appreciate when they give back to the city of Rowlett. And the Cub Scouts Pack 52 picked up trash along Rowlett Road in March. We had an Eagle Scout. His project was to paint the Environmental Learning Center fence, and that happened back in October. So we really appreciate the partnership that we have with those groups throughout the year. They do make a difference. Leadership Rowlett, which is a program that's offered through the Rowlett Chamber of Commerce. Well, Class 21 had a class project, and they came out and gave back to the community, and this happens to be a flower bed improvement at Dow Rock and Princeton Road. I love it. It's beautiful. It's made of rock, and it's not any more sustainable than that. And pressure washer and a good water hose makes that look fresh several times a year. But it was tough work, and we really appreciate their dedication to the community, and they've certainly have made a contribution that we are very, very appreciative of. And if you were participating in the Memorial Day activities, we had our Memorial Day ceremony at Veterans Park. And the gazebo that you see was dedicated by Keep Rowlett Beautiful. And we did a plaque dedication as a part of that ceremony, and we really appreciate their contribution to adding to the significance of that park. Our park staff added some benches, so it's an opportunity for quiet meditation for those that want to come and pay respect to the veterans who've paid the ultimate price, as well as the veterans who continue to serve on a daily basis to ensure our freedoms, and we certainly appreciate them and appreciate Keep Rowlett Beautiful. And then our Safe Routes to School program. These are 2 examples of where we've made investments to provide opportunities for our children to get off the highway or the roadway and have a safer way to get to school. And one example is Liberty Grove at Riviera Lane, as the other is a crosswalk at Keeley Elementary. So 2 very good examples of where sidewalks make a difference. And then I certainly cannot finish without saying a huge level of appreciation and thanks to the staff and all of the employees who make this possible. They do an awesome job every day. I'm so appreciative of all of the work, and I consider myself very blessed to be working with such a great group of men and women who are passionate about the service that they deliver and are passionate about this community, and it's evident in the work that they do. So I really do appreciate this opportunity to update you. We're going to go to a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to tell you about all the great things going on in the community.
Let's talk about some of the community interest items. First and foremost, we got the American Heart First Aid CPR class. That's on Saturday, June 9th. That's hosted by our Rowlett Fire Rescue. They encourage everyone to be prepared to save a life. Take the American Heart First Aid CPR class. Again, it's on Saturday, June 9th. The cost is $30. And for more information on that, Linda, you can call 972-412-6230 or register for more information. That's a great opportunity to do that. Now, I can tell you, it's one of those things you think about usually when something happens and you say, boy, I've got to do that. But it doesn't take that long, and it's definitely worth it. And it's also good to teach your kids. I've heard so many stories where the grandchildren are there with the grandparents, and if it wasn't for the grandchild knowing what to do and being able to do that, so it's definitely worth the $30.
You bet.
And that's going to be on Saturday, June 9th again. We have a low-cost pet vaccination clinic on June 16th from 12:30 to 2:30. That's at 4402 Industrial Street, and come find your new best friend. In addition to that, we also have P&Z meetings and our council meetings. Our council and P&Z meetings in June. Our city council meets the first and third Tuesday of every month, and in June, the meetings will be held on June 5th and June 19th. And then on planning and zoning, Linda, is going to be held on the second and fourth Tuesday of every month in June, and P&Z will meet on June 12th and June 26th.
Right.
Lots and lots to talk about. There's never a dull meeting, is there?
Nope.
I'm being nice here, okay? No, but we always have a lot. This council, I'm going to comment for that just a second. We meet a lot. We meet as much as necessary, because what I told Drew earlier when we were talking about this, I said, it's important. If we need to meet three extra times a month, we're going to meet 3 extra times a month, because I don't want anything to hold up the city business. And there's nothing worse than trying to have a marathon meeting and trying to squeeze a lot of stuff in and not be able to have the conversation. We want to have open dialogue, and we want to try to involve the citizens as much as we can. And if that means a few more meetings to get the stuff done, well, and then so be it. And of course, we have our fireworks on main event. That's Wednesday, July 4th. We talked about that from 4 to 10. And there's only 6 more months, Linda. And Dart Light Rail opens on December 3rd, 2012.
Put a star on that date, Mayor.
Yeah, we're certainly looking forward to that. And what a great way to finish the program.
You bet.
So in closing, we want to thank all of you that tuned in today's program to stay in touch with your government. We'd love to hear from you. Please stay in touch with us by emailing us or calling us with your suggestions or concerns. We need to thank our communications staff, Drew Rist and Denise Perrin, who assisted with today's broadcast. They always do a great job.
They
If it
do.
wasn't, and I want to comment on that for a second, because this show is produced entirely by city staff.
Yep.
There are no outside resources used, and they do an outstanding job. What a first-class program. So we need to thank Drew and Denise for all their hard work and effort, and we look forward to seeing you, our viewers, again next month. So until next time, thanks for joining us for another edition of Rowlett on the Water, on the Move.